Hello guys, Ham Solo here again. Kilo Foxtrot Zero, Echo November Oscar, Mike. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together this open stub J-pole, and I've got all the parts here sitting in front of me. They do have description paperwork, and so it's telling me exactly how to put each rod on. And so I tried to size some of the rods to my wrenches, and the ones that they say that are 5/8, which is going to be the actual antenna pole, the first one that I'm going to put on, is 5/8 on my socket, but my wrench, it's not fitting my wrench. And so they're both from the same toolbox, both Craftsman, and so I'm thinking that there must be something wrong with my 5/8 wrench. So I will attempt to tighten them using my deep socket onto the plate, and from there I'll move on to the next one. It's a different size. Okay, so this antenna here says 19 1/4 inch element to the assembly, and that makes sense. I thought it was the longer one, but this is a 1/4 wavelength for VHF, and so this apparently is the one that the actual coax is going to hook into. And so I'll take my mounting bracket off, or out of the baggie. Got it set off to the side. I'm not going to use that clamp. So mounting bracket, okay. Largest hole is the one that one's going to go in, okay. And so they show in the picture, I've got the rod, got the mounting bracket. They're recommending that the nylon washer goes on this side of the bracket where this rod's going to be. And I'm imagining that's for grounding so I don't make contact with the bracket itself. So I'm going to push through the base, the stud, to hold that washer in place. And I'm going to screw on that 19 1/4 inch element. Right? Feels fairly snug. I'll use that deep socket. I'm going to try to hold on to it with this wrench. I don't know how well that's going to work since it doesn't really fit that well. It's not too bad. Now I think the recommendation that I've seen on the web and now on their paperwork says, caution, do not over tighten about 30 foot-pounds. And so I think that's probably where I got now, 30 foot-pounds. I could get out a torque wrench. I don't have one in this toolbox, but it felt like the appropriate torque for 30 pounds. Okay. So next piece is going to be remove the nut from the 57 1/2 inch element. That has to be the large one. Okay. And so this nut, much smaller, looks like about a 9/16. And it says you are going to screw it on the hole nearest the end of the bracket, so the opposite end is where that one's going to go. And I'm going to tilt it down. Oh, it actually screws in, so stand by. Make sure I'm not bending the element. Okay. In the paperwork, there is mention on the front page that it does not require a ground plane. And so, kind of another reason why I hadn't got any of my grounding and bonding stuff together yet is just simply because it seems like the antenna's not even going to need that, simply because it's not outside. So So that's 2 elements down. It's a lot smaller than it looks when you see a picture of it on the website. All right. And then all I need to do now is put on my 3rd element. Again, it's also a 9/16. It's fairly small. And so it should be easy just to screw this on. This is called the 6 1/4 inch element. Just screws in to the hole, threaded hole on the bracket. All right. Put down the nut. Hit it with my 9/16. Okay, they are all on there, and they are on the bracket. Let me get the camera real quick. Okay, so this is them put together. This is them on the bracket. And so it leaves just enough space so I can put in the 2 bolts that'll probably end up going through my 2x4 or 2x6 up in the ceiling or up in the attic. And that is the open stub J-pole for VHF, UHF assembly, right? So I will go get my torque wrench now. I'll check it, make sure it's 30 pounds, and then I'll start doing the balun. Alrighty guys, this is Ham Solo. We are back. I started the balun just so that I could have it situated so you could see it. Again, this is a 1 foot piece of 4-inch PVC Schedule 40. And I got that RG8U cable, which is fairly thick, thicker than I thought. And so I pre-drilled some holes on 4 sides of the top with a 7/32 drill bit, and then I'm running some zip ties on the cable between the holes so that I can tie it in place. All right, and then I'm going to take, I left about 2 feet of run that'll go to the antenna, and so I'm just going to tuck that inside, and then once I get those zip ties on, they're already on, I would just cut off the remainder of the zip tie. And I know that I'm using wire cutters. I'm sorry I don't have scissors down here. So now that I have that piece out of the way and I have my cable, I've marked it off at 20 feet. And so now I'm just going to sit here and coil it around the PVC pipe. Okay? And I coil it fairly tight, right up against each other, and I would do that all the way down. It's fairly easy once that extension piece is out of the way. So don't seem to be having any problem with it. It doesn't seem to be sliding at all. Like I said, this is pretty large cable, and so I was worried that it being so big, maybe I would run out of room, but I'm only 5 wraps in, and it looks like I should have plenty of room. Okay, so the biggest problem I think with this cable being so large is that when you try to wrap it, it's wanting to coil down the line while I'm wrapping. So I'm just trying to keep turning the PVC in line with the cable as much as possible so that I don't make a separate coil in the cable as I'm wrapping it up, because that becomes more annoying. And so this is now, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 coils in, and I don't feel that I'm very far from the end of that 20 feet. Coiling, coiling, coiling. I have maybe 3 feet to go. Keep it nice and tight. And here is my tape mark for my 20 feet. And I've got a good 4.5, 5 inches of pipe left out of a foot. And so that's 20 feet of RG8U coiled up into a dirty balun on this pipe. What I'll do is I'll drill in 4 more sets of holes on each side, well, 2 on each side, and I'll zip tie the bottom, and then that'll be the end of the balun. And so then I'll have that coiled dirty balun set up here on the pipe, and it'll be shortened. I'll cut off the remainder, and so it'll be shortened to about here. Alrighty? But that is how I coil and make my dirty balun in order to lower, or actually it's raise impedance on the wire so that I don't get feedback coming back through the wire back into the shack. And that is the intention of this balun on the antenna line. Alrighty? Okay, talk to you later, and we'll see if we get the chance to get it up in the attic. Thanks. Alrighty. Change number 1 and putting the antenna up here in the attic. I was going to put it further in there, and I don't have any cross members to get on and no plywood to stand on. So instead, I opted to put it right at the top of the crawl space hatch, and it's bolted against that piece of wood, and the antenna will come out here and run this way. And I think the plan is to run it down through the wall right here, right where these Romex cables go down for some outlets, and I should be able to go all the way through that wall down into the basement and bring the antenna cord down there, but that's going to take some other stuff. I don't have a drill bit to get through the board, so I'm going to have to go get a drill bit when I go get the soldering iron. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I did get the balun completed, and I got the antenna in place. It's got room, and so now it's going to be a little bit more of a chore trying to run it all and put it together. So more to follow. Hey guys, Ham Solo here. I got my new vanity call sign. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to record. I'm on the road right now, still in Dallas, on the way to do a class in San Antonio. And the new call sign is Kilo 0 Foxtrot Yankee Romeo K0 FYR. I am a retired firefighter, and so I went with KO Fire, and that was just kind of a wanting to get it out there. I'll put it on my new logo when I get back on the channel. I have completed the installation of the antenna wire upstairs in the attic. You've seen some of the previous videos of me building the open sub J-pole, the dirty balun, and then when I initially crawled up in the attic, it became much more of a pain in the ass trying to get it installed. And so I was having a hard enough time just doing it, let alone filming it. And so I can show you the lower cable run. I can show you from the crawl space, and I might be able to get that video on here. But know that I did drill in the right spot. I was probably 7 feet from where I showed you I was going to drill, but it went straight down right in between about an 8-inch chase, and I got it drilled all the way through the floor and into the basement crawl space, and then into the wall right behind my radio. So all of that ended up like actually perfect, and now I'm just waiting on my power supply to get everything put all together. I ran a couple tests on the SWR meter for both the antenna and on my Baofeng through the antenna and the J-pole and the cabling, and I didn't get over a 1.3. And so most of the time I was 1.01 or 1-to-1, if not 1.3 when I did certain channels on the Baofeng. And so I think once I get the actual radio hooked up, the Kenwood V71A, I should be able to even do better than that compared to a handheld. I needed an adapter. I needed a barrel connection because the couple of the adapters I bought were male to male, and unfortunately, you know, the antenna male and then the male coming from the adapter didn't help, so I had to buy a double female barrel, and that should be back by the time I get back home. But just want to let y'all know, call signs change. I'm going to change my logo, but K0 FYR, am solo. All right, thanks guys, bye.